5 seconds. Good morning. It's April 23rd. We're here for our regular scheduled county commissioner meeting. We have a full slate of commissioners. We have our administrator and we have our clerk of the board at this time. I'll call the meeting to order and ask everyone to please join in the pledge. First item on the agenda is the adoption of the current agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I would move for approval of the agenda as presented with one exception. Need to pull item number 7 from the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda with the exception of pulling item 7 from the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moves us down to public comment. Is there anybody in the room for public comment? Anybody on the phone? We don't have anybody down there. I don't see anybody coming forward. Moves us down to the approval of the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, move for approval of consent agenda items 1 through 6 as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second for the approval of the consent agenda items 1 through 6. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Takes us down to the closed record hearing. Mr. McCart. Mr. McCart's here to help us through this. At this time, I will open the closed record hearing, and I ask each commissioner if they have any ex parte communication they need to discuss, or if there is any need to recuse themselves from this discussion and decision.
Not on my part, no.
And then I need to ask each commissioner to declare that they have reviewed the entire record.
Yes, I have.
Okay, thank you. So there's no public testimony or staff presentation. Wes, do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, sir. You have the file in front of you. Unless you have any clarifying questions for myself or the applicant, Mr. Vandermuller, then I think we're good to go.
Mr. Chairman. So,
Commissioner Baumann.
thank you. I had a question about item number 9 in the proposed conditions of approval. It says traffic impact analysis is required together with upgrades and or mitigation fees for the road system. Just like to have clarification on what is there some criteria attached to that, or like to have a better understanding of item number 9.
I think I'd defer to our Public Works Director to answer that question directly. So,
Mr. Erdman.
So the traffic impact analysis is there to evaluate the current condition of the road and future impacts with the increased traffic to the road, and to determine what, if any, mitigation is necessary for the upkeep of that road, and that will be determined after we receive the results from this study.
I just wondered if there was criteria surrounding of what the traffic impact analysis was going to be.
Essentially, we're looking for the condition of the subbase and base and surface condition of the road and the impacts that future traffic will have to the deterioration of that road.
And then mitigation would be determined after that is obtained?
Yes, we understand that there'll be some something that will have to be done to the road. You know, the county has a part of that. Perhaps Mr. Vandermeulen has a part of that. We'll have to see after we receive the study.
And so that would just become an agreement between the county and the applicant?
Yeah, I believe that would be correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you. No further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Rowland, any questions?
I have no questions.
If there are no more questions, I believe that we vote and then we close the hearing.
That'd be correct, yes.
Mr. McCart is helping me through parliamentary procedure after all these years. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve Resolution 2025-0129 as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second for Resolution 2025-0129. Is there any further discussion?
Just a comment, say I appreciate the thoroughness of this report. It's a thick report. I read almost every word of it and appreciate the thoroughness and the thoughtfulness that went into it and the completeness, and no further comment.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Mr. Chairman, if
yes.
I might,
Yes.
just have a moment of privilege.
Yes.
I'd like to personally apologize to Mr. Vandermolen for this having taken so long. We ran into staffing issues here. I was brought in late. I didn't even know the file existed. He brought it to my attention. So again, I'm sorry that it took so long, and we're trying to speed up our process as we move along. But I think he understands, but I think he still is owed an apology. So I wanted to make sure that we could acknowledge that. Thank you.
Well, Wes,
Thank
I'd
you.
like to say thank you for acknowledging that, but I also want to thank you for coming down and helping us get our our planning and building back into order. Thank you very much. And I know that Mr. Vollenberg will probably be very appreciative of the fact that you brought that to his attention. So at this time, I'll close the closed record hearing. Move on to regular business. Certificate of appreciation, and we have Sally McKenzie. Dear Miss McKenzie, on behalf of the Franklin County, we extend our heartfelt appreciation for the dedicated service from April 18th, 1994 through April 24th, 2025. Your career with Franklin County began in the Commissioner's office as an executive confidential secretary, where you also served as the clerk of the board in late 1996. Your transition to the Public Works Department, taking on the role of solid waste coordinator or educator. In addition to your responsibilities in Public Works, you served as a civil service chief examiner from August 1999 to January of 2009. Your support also extended to the Treasurer's Office, where you contributed significantly to sales tax recovery on multiple occasions. Although your time with Franklin County concludes on April 24th, 2025, the impact of your service and the legacy you leave behind will not be forgotten. Please accept this certificate of appreciation as a token of our sincere gratitude for your professionalism, commitment, and many contributions you made over the years. Wishing you all the best in your next chapter of life. And on behalf of Ms. McKenzie, Craig Erdman will accept it. Craig, would you like to say a word or two for Ms. McKenzie?
I've had the privilege of serving with Sally for a very long time. She's been a friend as well as a coworker, and we're going to all miss her at Public Works a great deal. She's been that's solid waste is kind of an odd niche in Public Works world, and she's done well with it. So, like I said, we're going to miss her. She's been a part of our family for a very long time. So,
Thank you.
Please extend our heartfelt congratulations on 31 amazing years.
will do.
Moving down to regular business item number 2, Resolution 2025-0131, defining roles and responsibilities for security operations at the Public Safety Building, presented by Brian Denzel.
Mr. Chairman, as requested before the board is Resolution 2025-131, which would transfer security operations at the Public Safety Building from the Sheriff's Office to the Board of County Commissioners. The Board of Commissioners has the authority to make this decision, and as a contingency, we do have a contractor on standby with multiple staff if you were to act on this today. It is before the board.
Questions, commissioners?
I have no questions.
No questions.
If there's no questions, would like to entertain a motion.
Move for approval of Resolution 2025-0131 as presented.
Second.
Been a motion and a second for Resolution 2025-0131. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moves us down to jail management presented by Brand Danzel, County Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As requested, before the board is Resolution 2025-132, which would create a standalone Franklin County Department of Corrections. It does not call for staffing cuts and does not change any of the current agreements in place as it pertains to daily rates and will not affect any of the interlocal agreements that are in place or being negotiated. It really only changes who's overseeing the jail. All aspects will remain virtually unchanged. The Board of County Commissioners also has the authority to make this decision.
Discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brief comment. There's been concern that this was made hastily and in the dark, and I would disagree with that notion. I've personally sat down with 4 other counties and numerous commissioners, just asking about some of the challenges that we face with oversight, and after thorough conversation over the last number of months and with extensive asking for advice. Feel like this is a necessary and appropriate action for us to take today.
Commissioner Mullen?
No, the only thing I'd like to say is, the state auditor's report that came out was nothing new. I mean, it was, we were aware of everything. They didn't discover anything that we didn't already know about, and we have been working on it. But instead of finger pointing and accusations, I think we should take this time to thank Commander Harmon for finding the missing payment from the vendor and congratulate him on collecting that money back. Well, good job, well done, thank you.
Absolutely.
And then I'd also like to thank Commander Harmon for his role and leadership in getting the accreditation done for the jail. And I think that he was very instrumental in that happening. And with that, gentlemen, before us we have a resolution to establish Franklin County Department of Correction. What is the will of the board at this time? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move for approval of Resolution 2025-0132 as presented.
Second?
There's been a motion and a second for Resolution 2025-0132. Is there any further discussion?
No, sir.
With that, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. So with that, do I have the consensus among the Board of Commissioners? It's not? Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So with that, Commissioner Administrator updates. Mr. Danzo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you know, I met with you and Treasurer Colzer and Wes McCart to tour some of the tax title properties that Franklin County has and that we're looking to possibly sell. I met with Auditor Matt Beaton and HWL to discuss accounting practices and HAPO operations in general. I met with the Pasco City Administrator and Deputy City Administrator where we discussed HAPO, subsidy amount, potentially extended our ILA. We left with an agreement that every couple weeks we'll meet or at least have a phone conversation. Mr. McCart also joined us at that meeting and discussed some of the crossover issues that apply between planning at the county and city. I met with Bo Beckley from Information Services and just kind of a general update. Microsoft 365 has been rolled out. We're waiting for all core applications to be deployed with additional applications to follow shortly. And then in preparation of this meeting, just working on your behalf to be prepared here today, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Baumann.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My time since last week was shortened as I took a short vacation, went and seen my son at Fort Langley Eustis in Virginia, and really enjoyed that time with him. He beat me at golf again, and but I really enjoyed the time. And for all of you that know my son, he said to say hi. So hello from Duncan. Did participate in last week's commissioners meeting over the telephone, and when I did get back, I did have numerous meetings, pre-agenda meeting with the administrator, HAPO Center operations, and contract meetings, multiple meetings over the phone, and I'll leave my report at that. Thank you.
Commissioner Mullen.
So last week, had the Board of Health meeting. Only thing really out of that is we have a measles outbreak in the state of Texas, but other than that, just fielding more calls on our county assessment of property, which I think somehow needs to be addressed, because from what people have been showing me, the assessments aren't even close. They're 20-30% above market value. I think we need to make some corrections there, or we need some guidance on how to rectify this, because I think people are getting ready to, form a lawsuit against the county because of excess evaluations. They're not, in my opinion, they're not accurate. I'm not an assessor, but when you can see something that's clearly 20 or 30% above what the market value is, I think it's a pretty close indication that I think we'll lose if we are challenged. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. Last week, we had a virtual meeting with Congressman Baumgardner's lead man, Mr. Bridgewater, on the Columbia River Treaty, the impact for the farmers behind John Day Pool, and when they lower that water down for flood control in the spring, when they get down to that 257 mark, they aren't allowed, the pumps won't work. And so we're trying to get in front of this thing so we make sure that we keep Canada happy, so they hold the water back for us, 3.6 million acre feet, which we build their dams up in their country, and then they're telling us what they're going to do with the water. Ben Franklin Transit Health meeting, very disturbed about, again, the septic system and what's going on there with permits, with the health department, bringing concerns. Columbia River Policy Advisory Group meeting, a lot going on there with the Columbia River. Franklin County Emergency Management meeting. Ben Franklin Council of Governments meeting. And then I got a email, I haven't got a phone call yet, from Mr. Bosch about the right to farm. But he's complaining about the cannons going off for the orchards and the spray. When you move out to a farming community, you got to realize there is a right to farm. And when you try to come in and change the way people operate their farms, it's not going to go well. I think that there is a solution here, and I think Wes is well on board with it, about getting a hold of our conservation district and getting an information and education out there. Because without these bird cannons, those birds will devastate an orchard. And so they've got to have a means to be able to control it. And the evaluations on the ground, I'm fielding more calls. I got people that are upset that just because it's a corner property, they think that it's 20% more than the piece of ground right next to it that's not a piece of corner property. It's just the evaluation is out of whack. We've got to get a control of this. And then I had another gentleman call me. he's got a business in town with the taxes being raised as high as they are in this state. He's telling me he's going to close shop. He's shutting her down. When we start driving these businesses out that they are here in the state of Washington, the rest of us that are left are the ones that are going to be paying the bill. And it's just going to be a domino effect before we know it, we're all done. This state is out of control for their tax grabbing attitude. And that's the end of my report.
I do want to add too, at the Board of Health, we had a meeting on affordable housing. And one of our fellow commissioners from Benton County, he claimed, he says, we built a building in Idaho.
Yeah.
Says that same building in Washington cost me twice as much to build. And the impact is so minimal, it's not, I don't even think it's measurable. But they want low-income housing, but with the increased taxing on the assessed values and all the regulations that we're putting on, there's no incentive to build low-income housing because it doesn't pencil out. And nobody's going to invest money to lose it. But I think we're headed down a pathway that's it's unsustainable. So our tax issues need to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, we'll move down to public comment. Is there anybody in the room for public comment? Just come to the mic, introduce yourself. You got 3 minutes.
The courthouse security building, or what's referred to as a shack, was established and built for protection of the superior courts and the protection of security purposes for those employees, as is for district court. You've made the suggestion that private security is going to take over security for the courts, and they're not. That's within my confines, and without a court order, we will continue in the security shack, as they call it, to provide that protection for the courts and the judges until they can weigh in. Commander Harmon, Captain Jeremy Jansky are appointments from this office, my office. They don't belong to the county, they are my employees. As soon as I can remove them from the jail and bring them over, I will. But there should be some sort of a timely process to do this, because your actions are negligent in what you're doing. But we will prepare to hand over the operations of the jail in the next 48 hours. So between now and then, there's no private security in the security buildings that have been established for the courts, and that's not going to happen. Go get a court order, because it's not going to happen. And then we will do an orderly, safe exit of Franklin County Corrections Center, which is a shame considering that the county is the only dual accredited county in the state for both the jail and the sheriff's office. But I'll respect your decision, but it'll be done in a lawful manner.
Sheriff, can I ask you a question?
This is
Is
public comment. We're not supposed to interact.
You're not supposed to interact. He can
Is it,
interact.
is it
Oh,
okay?
excuse me, Sheriff. Are you the chairman of this board?
Nope.
Okay, then.
Is it all right if I ask my question?
Yes.
Sorry, Chair, I should have asked to be recognized, and I was out of order.
Thank you.
I'm very concerned about removal of equipment from the jail, specifically tasers and guns.
They will be removed, and my commission cards will be pulled from the jail staff. Yes. All of that impact weapons that you discuss, and the policies, by the way, are all essentially property of the sheriff, not the county. And we will remove them. I will not take on the liabilities of those type of things, and we'll begin an orderly process of that. So all the guns, all the defense weapons, et cetera, that are in the jail are authorized and actually in the Franklin County Sheriff's name, not the county's name. And I hold the responsibility for those trainings and certifications, et cetera. But as we pull out of the jail, those certifications aren't there. So you should be concerned. And you're also going to lose accreditation in the jail with the maneuvers that you've done today.
So if I could speak, Commissioner.
Yes. Please go.
So we do intend to issue new commission cards. I believe once a new jail commander is installed in the Franklin County Jail. So we would be issuing new commission cards for the corrections staff. They are all certified, as they've all passed the CJTC certification. So they have that training, that basic law enforcement training through the CJTC. So once they receive their commission cards, they should be permitted to retain their ability to have firearms. So, and in our resolution that we just passed, we transferred ownership of those firearms to our newly created Franklin County Corrections. So,
Okay, thank you.
I'll only add that the law requires
Excuse-
proper firearms transfer.
Excuse me, Sheriff. You didn't
This
ask.
resolution doesn't-
Excuse me, Sheriff. Your 3 minutes.
Talking
Your
to
3
the
minutes are up,
commissioner.
sir. Your 3 minutes
Talking
are
to
up.
the attorney.
Your 3 minutes are up.
The law
Please.
requires a.
We will recess the meeting for 5 minutes.
The law is
Cut the
an
mics.
orderly transfer of firearms.
Okay, we are back from recess, and at this time, I'll open up the mic for public comment. Is there anybody else for public comment? Just come forward and speak.
Thank you, Commissioners. Pete Serrano, Mayor of Pasco. The fact that I've been to, I think, in my 8 years as a city council member and mayor, about 2 of the meetings underscores the importance that I see of speaking today. With me is Deputy Chief Cook. Simply, our position is we don't interfere with the county's business. There is an interlocal agreement that's currently being negotiated with the city and the county. I want to express the concern that, to the extent there may be continuity of operations, any other kind of outfall of public safety, the city of Pasco, as you know, is right across the street. We're here to stand together and do what we can to make sure that the city is best served through our force and hopefully through the sheriff's office and through however you guys resolve this. But again, I do want to express the concern that if there is any impact of the interlocal agreement that's currently being negotiated, we want to make sure that our legal team is ready and they're ready to take on whatever needs to happen to make sure that this is as smooth of a transition or however you guys resolve this. Again, I'm not here to tell you how to run your businesses. I just want to express the concern and make sure that we have, I know you all have at the forefront of your mind, the public safety and the welfare of the community. So if there's things that we need to do from our end, please let us know. City manager, you have his contact. I think you all have my cell phone number. Whatever can be done to make sure that the city of Pasco is able to serve, and I know Deputy Chief stands to say the same. If you have any additional comments.
Yes, I am available for contact when we need to transition this.
So we're here. Again, not telling you how to do your business. We just want to make sure that the people of Pasco are protected as best as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment?
I'll keep the short sweet. My name's Tim Davison. I'm a Pasco resident. Little background on me. I've worked at Benton County Jail for 17 years. So I've been through the sheriff's side and then I've been through the standalone side. I do have some opinions on this, and it's not going to be a smooth transition. The lessons we learn are written on the tombstones of others. Agreed? So I don't know the drama that's went on in the background, but there is going to be operations greatly affected by this. I'm living proof. If you guys would, I'll give you my number and I'll fill you in on exactly all the nightmare we went through. Okay, nothing is that smooth. Nothing. And I'm also in the training side because I also understand that this also comes down to budget like everything else does. And the first year, you're going to have a honeymoon period where, hey guys, we got your back. And after a while, it's going to taper off like it normally does. I don't know the other counties you've been through, but I went through that over there. And there's going to be a drastic effect to the men and women who are working there, which is also going to affect the public safety. Because if you went through and talked to each of us that were there during the Hatcher era, right? Don't want to relive that, would like to always forget that. But if you took a vote of us that were there today, the commissioners over there would be shocked that we would rather have went back to Hatcher than the current conditions that we're in today. Because you don't replace how many years of experience between the sheriff and corrections if you add everything up in public safety and that insight that is gained. How many years? Probably over 200 years, easy. I'm not calling you guys old, but there's probably well over 200 years of experience. You don't replace that. They look at things differently based on their experience just in day-to-day operations. Who are you guys going to have? The devil's in the details. That's all I'm going to say. So if you have a second, take a second. If you need to shelve this for a week and think and properly execute, because what happened is when they took us, there was a lot more money that had to be spent taxpayer-wise. A ton more money that had to be spent by the taxpayers because of how quickly we were taken. Because just as the sheriff said, there are things that he's accounted for in inventory that are his, that you guys are now gonna have to replace. I don't know if you've crunched those numbers. There was vehicles on our end that were have to be replaced. There's weapons, ammunition, training, everything. So I'm just gonna say my piece.
Thank you. Any other comment?
I'm not a corrections officer. I've worked in Benton County Jail for 9 years and in Franklin County Jail for 9.5. I don't think you know what you're doing. I don't think you know what you're giving away. And I think it's very foolish. I think it's a potential risk to the safety of the people who work there. Really not myself. The corrections officers, the chaplains, DOC, psychologists who come from Eastern State Hospital to evaluate people, the attorneys, all the people that come and go from the jail. It's not any of you. You haven't been there. What do you know? You know numbers. You know money. And I don't disagree. I don't know anything about the budget, except I know it's probably there's not enough money, and maybe it wasn't routed perfectly, but you're throwing away a lot. And I think you should be aware of that.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment?
Michelle Andrews, former Civil Service Commission and Chair. I was in an executive session with at least two of you. I have had issues happen with the sheriff. It was unpleasant. But I'm here defending the vote of the citizens, and from the inside understanding of having to do the testing and certifying of the people that work in the jail and on the road, and as they advance up the chain, captain, sergeant, lieutenant, probably don't have those in order, you don't understand the mantle that Jim Raymond has to bear every day. You don't. He has to manage his people and all the things happening in their lives. I personally went and rode with the deputies in Benton County and Franklin County, and the spans that they have to respond to, you don't understand it. You have experienced some very unfortunate things. What the sheriff needs is for things to run smoothly over here. It's just the straw on the camel's back, and it doesn't say anything about his ability to serve. He was voted in by the citizens to take care of the jail. And I watched this county betray my position, trying to make it better, when we were so far down on the Department of Corrections side. I was sick to my stomach, and I'm a volunteer. And you guys didn't help me in that executive session. I can't speak to the exact matters, but I didn't get help. I didn't get help from HR. They broke RCWs. No help. I am standing here today telling you I understand. Despite some of the discrepancies over there, the one thing that Franklin County needs across the boards is the ability to understand what it takes to serve. I need to understand you. I need to understand you, and I need to understand Mr. Bauman and Mr. Danzel and Mr. Briggs. And I have diligently done that, even in the face of being told I probably didn't have more than 2 years to live. You didn't give a rip. You didn't. You sent Mr. Gonzalez to create a coup and say that they were going to quit when I knew what I was doing. I wanted a written response from the Attorney General on the issue that a 20-year veteran in the Civil Service Office created, and I investigated and I had to mete it out, and I got no support. None. This county needs you to understand what these men and women go through. And they're telling you, I'm telling you today, rescind this. You go and work it out and show yourselves better. I want you to be better. I want you to be successful. But the voters have voted Jim Raymond as our sheriff. Jerry Hatcher, I went and sat with him. For all the craziness over there, that man reduced recidivism by 42% by bringing programs into the jail, and you were going to go investigate that. What happened? Where did that go? Where's that support?
Is there anybody else for public comment?
Gentlemen, my name is Jesus Garcia. I'm a corrections deputy currently at the jail. I think on the spectrum of the totem pole, I'm probably the lowest. I'm the lowest seniority there. I've only been there a year and a half. But to all the rest of the law enforcement here, it's evident that you guys don't really understand the terminology and the legality of stuff. Mr. Briggs earlier, in regards to firearms, he mentioned Basic Law Enforcement Academy. I just recently completed the state's Correction to Officer Academy, and it's a 10-week program. And while I was there, I didn't get a single minute, a single second of firearms training. All of that was done through the sheriff's office, in conjunction with the sheriff's office by their instructors. The sheriff's office, the office of Jim Raymond, is what gives me the authority, to effect arrests and provide security here on the county property. So I just wanted to touch on that in regards to the Basic Law Enforcement Academy is completely different. I know you throw it out there, but it's not something that any of us working at the jail has. And just the last touch that I wanted to add was I noticed, Mr. Bellman, you mentioned that this wasn't done in secret, that you had done months of research and talked to other people. I think my question, and what many of us down at the jail are questioning, is why none of this was ever mentioned to us. Why is it that we found out yesterday in the middle of the afternoon? How come nothing was discussed? How come there's no plan? I think that's probably our biggest questions downstairs. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else for public comment? Seeing nobody else come forward, I just want to thank everyone for being here today and for your input. The state auditor's findings give me great concern. With $2 million unaccounted for in a $10 million budget, the two findings from the state auditor's office and the Board of Commissioners is responsible for putting controls in place so that we stay compliant with the state. I want to thank all of you for the staff at the jail and the sheriff's office for your hard work and your commitment to Franklin County. There will be no cuts in staff. The only change we would be making is who will be overseeing the jail. And at this time, I want to know if the consensus of the board is to offer Commander Killian Harmon the position of the interim jail commander administrator.
Yes.
Do we need to, if I could interject, we need to add that to the agenda as an agenda item? I would suggest that we amend the agenda and put that on.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move to amend the agenda to add that we offer Commander Keelan Harmon the position of interim jail administrator.
Second.
I made a motion, a second, to amend the agenda, to add this to the agenda, offering Keelan Harmon, Mr. Harmon, the interim jail administrator position. At this time, Mr. Harmon, would you please come to the mic?
Keelan Harmon is one of my command staff appointments. And
Mr.
before
Chairman,
you do any of that,
Mr. Chairman, this is out of
Keelan
order.
Harmon will be having
Sheriff,
a
you're out of
discussion.
order. Would you please?
I'm not out of order.
Mr. Harmon, would-
Keelan Harmon's not going to come to the mic. He is an employee of
Mr.
Franklin
Chairman,
County.
this is out of
Sheriff.
order.
Keelan, you want it?
Mr. Harmon, would you please come to the mic? Mr. Harmon, I hate to put you on the spot like this, but I I thank you for your leadership in the jail, and we're looking for a great leader of the jail. Would you be interested in being the interim jail administrator?
I love my people, and I don't want to see them with anybody else. So, yeah.
Thank you. So at this time, I need a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we appoint Commander Keelan Harm as our interim jail administrator.
Second?
There's been a motion, a second, for Mr. Harmon to be our interim administrator for the jail. Any further discussion? Mr. Danzel.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I would ask that you allow me permission to work on a contract for his out-of-scope pay and at least a temporary increase to Mr. Harmon's pay for the extra responsibility in this next week, and then come back with a contract at the next meeting.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Mr. Harmon.
Maybe,
So with
maybe
the-
longer.
So with that, we will move into executive session, Mr. Briggs?
Right, we probably want one under potential litigation, 4230-110, 1I. Do we also want, in addition to what we've just been discussing most recently, do we want one under this assessor item as well? If so, would we want to invite the assessor, or do we want to postpone that for a later meeting?
I might want to, why don't we make it a workshop next meeting?
Okay,
Let's do that.
Okay, let's
And that
do
way
that.
we can have, the public can be in the room too to hear the discussion under an open public meeting.
right. Well, it wouldn't be an executive session then, but
No, it would
if
be
we're
an-
dealing with, but we could roll it into an executive, we can have an executive session during a workshop. And there's no rule against
Exactly.
that.
If we need it.
Okay,
But right now, we need a 10-minute executive session?
sure.
So you want to call out the executive session and who
Yes,
needs to be in
it'd
the
be
room?
under 4230-110, 1I, potential litigation. Present would be myself, the board, county administrator, and the clerk of the board. Let's see any, okay.
So at
And-
this time, we will recess into executive session for 10 minutes. We'll be coming out at 10:59,
Oh,
9:59.
could we
excuse me.
also have Commander Harmon, or is it Administrator Harmon?
Commander Harmon.
Commander Harmon, okay. Oh, and Mr. Stant's going to be on the phone as well.
We're going downstairs.
So I would say, I would ask that Teresa stay here so that the room
Okay.
Yeah. And Teresa, and that way you can extend.
Okay, you tell me when. Good morning. We're going to extend the executive session for 31 minutes to return at 10:30, and we are going to add to the executive session Lieutenant Jansky. Thank you.
We've come back from executive session with no decisions being made. We're back to regular session. We're looking for our legal. Jeff?
He'll be here momentarily.
We'll hold on for our legal to show up. I hear his voice. All right, we are back. Like I said, we are back from executive session with no decisions being made. We're here for the conclusion of the meeting, or the next item on the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to amend the agenda to add a potential action item of direction to the PA's office for injunctive relief at the courts.
Second?
There's been a motion to amend the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Baumann.
I move to direct the PA's office to immediately file an injunction with the court to enforce the direction or actions that the board took today, unless the sheriff immediately complies with the actions the board took today.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion, second discussion.
I think it's important to, for public safety and for the peaceful transfer of oversight, as the sheriff identified, and it's important for this action to either be taken voluntarily or the courts to enforce the action that this board took per their responsibility today.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the sheriff did say that he would accommodate a smooth transfer within 48 hours, but I think that for the public safety, jail staff safety, and the those being held within the jail system safety, that transfer all necessary equipment over to Commander Harmon.
I agree. I think it's very important that this be a smooth transition. Like we said, there's just one change here, and that is Mr. Harmon is going to take over the jail. And it needs to be a smooth transition. They need the firearms for the protection of the people working in the jail, the staff, and the prisoners. And all we're asking for is this to happen in that direction. So I think this is a proper action for the board to take to make sure that this safety of the jail is held intact with the apparatuses that they need to make it safe. So with that, if there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So with that, we are at the end of our meeting, but I'm going to recess the meeting until 1 o'clock tomorrow, just in case we have to have any further board action. So at this time, I'll recess till 1 o'clock on the 24th. What's the date today? 24th. So at this time, the meeting is recessed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.